John,
Hey, Alessandro.
here we go, buddy.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. How are you?
Yeah, me too, me too. Great, great, great. I will do it without my earbuds because I lost them somewhere in my house.
Oh no.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. If you hear me fine, I hear you fine. And I mean, it's pretty much the same, I think. Big mix and stuff.
Yeah.
They
I
do
hope
not make
that you
that
don't
much
get
of a
too.
difference.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I think it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get too many crazy background sounds. I am in India, and sometimes you get the weirdest sounds like
I've been living
crows
actually.
or honking from motorbikes and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Here, right now, it's fine. So,
Awesome.
welcome, John. I'm Alex. I'm an Italian marketing entrepreneur, and I interview the stars of SEO from all over the world. And John is one of the greatest experts in SEO, and it's regarded his service, PBN Butler, is regarded as one of the top-notch services. And then John will explain us uh, what he offers and the different kind of services that his company provides. So welcome, John.
Hey, thank you for having me, Alex.
Can you
Sorry, go on.
can you tell us a little bit about your background? How did you start in SEO? What were you doing before?
Sure, I can. I'd gladly. Actually, it's quite funny. Before we started this business, I actually was running a physical security company. So I had staff out on events as well as having security out as bodyguards for people, and so I was in a very, very different field. And, before that, I actually worked for a large Indian American company that focused on usability studies. But I always found myself sort of in business development or sales. And when I eventually had enough of the security world, I really wanted to go back into something IT related. And so what I decided is that I was going to do a bunch of research and try to sort of see what's out there, what are people looking for right now, what are people requiring, and of course, the field of marketing and SEO online is very, very busy. So I thought, why not supply them versus supplying the end consumer. And that's how we started with PBN Butler, really.
That's a very smart move. Instead of if you can fight them, make them your friends, right? Align with them,
Well,
partner up.
exactly. And the thing is too, when we were looking at the market, we could see that there was a huge gap in suppliers that understood what institutionalizing a service actually meant. And you still see it today that you have all these services that are run basically by virtual assistants, which is great until you scale, and then all of a sudden you'll find yourself in a very difficult position because those virtual assistants don't manage to keep up with the demand. And so that gap in the market, we sort of focused ourselves very much on, the pillars of customer support and sort of educating our buyers and really looking after them. And I think it's definitely paid off.
Sure, sure. When did you start it, the company?
We started the business in November of 2014 officially. We didn't actually launch PBN Butler then. Back then, we launched a brand called Article Writing Ninja, which later merged into PBN Butler. So service that we actually launched was offering low quality SEO content for people who needed it for their PBNs, for their Web 2.0 campaigns, and those kind of things, because it was one of the products that we saw the biggest issue with, because the demand kept growing. It got to a point where individual people were requiring 100 articles a week, and the smaller businesses were just not able to keep up with that demand. So we sort of made that our own, and then later launched more products under the PBN Butler brand.
Sure. How did you learn so fast about SEO, or it was a slow process of learning?
I think it was a mix. So I took my time learning but what definitely helped is that my business partner, who started the business with me, that his main focus had been SEO, whereas mine had been business development. So very much on the fact that he would focus on the technical side, and I could focus on the business development side. And then I honestly think that SEO is a lot easier than it's made out to be. I think that once you understand some of the key fundamentals, then the rest of it just comes with testing with time.
We're doing lots of stuff.
Exactly.
And you grew pretty fast, because you became a name in the industry, and you only started in November 2014, right?
That's right. So we spent. Sorry.
On the business side, how did you become such an authority in such a short time?
We spent an obnoxious amount of time and effort on helping the market. So especially during the first 6 months, we would spend almost all day, every day, on the Facebook groups, on the forums, on email, on Skype, just helping people basically, and helping them use our products as well. And we still do a lot of that today. Now, you partner that with offering good quality products and incredible support, and people will very quickly reward you with their recommendations. And that's what's really happened. I think a lot of the scale that we've experienced, we have owed to our users that have really enjoyed using our service.
Sure. So everyone is talking about scaling, automating, and you were doing like one by one, reaching out to people, helping them, giving suggestions, and that scaled up automatically in the end.
Exactly, because the thing that people forget is that one happy customer can very quickly scale into 10 recommendations, right? So it really does work.
Sure. So what are the kind of services that you offer now at PBN Butler?
So today we offer a couple of core products that most people sort of know about, and then we offer a couple that are newer, and then there's a few that we're about to launch. So the core products that we have right now are our social signals that are very popular.
Yeah.
And they really are. And the distinction with our social signals is that they're real social signals that are dripped over a limited amount of time, so it seems very natural to Google, and anybody that reads anything by a lot of the leading guys in our industry will see that they constantly get recommended by the likes of Matt Diggity and Charles Flo, etc. So the social signals are one of our most popular products. Another very popular product is our content. So we've evolved from offering the low-end SEO content only into offering 3 different tiers of content. We now offer the SEO content as well as what we call money site or professional content as well as expert content.
Yeah.
So we've actually expanded from having our team in the Philippines to also having a team of writers in Florida and the US. And that team now writes up to 40,000 words a week of really high quality content that goes out to people's websites in the form of blogs, landing pages, Amazon reviews, and all kinds of stuff. And as well as our business citation service, that's also very popular. We build out business directory listings for people manually and maintain them, do audits, do citation cleanups, and people very much like them because of our affordable price and, again, the customer service that sort of comes with them. And other than that, we still do our one core product, which is the PBN builds. We have been doing them for a while, and I think one of the main reasons why people like them is because they're still being hand built by us in our Indian office versus automatically generated from a template or something like that. So people really like them, and so yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the core product.
You also have the press release, which is very high regarded.
That's true, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's only been out a couple of months. Our press releases have become incredibly popular.
Yeah.
Those are being written in Florida, and then we syndicate them out in our U.S. news syndication network. They've become incredibly popular, actually, and we're just about to release an update to our syndication network that's going to make them even better. So there are definitely good things to come. There are a couple of small sort of website-related products that we're currently working on that we're going to launch within the next sort of 60 to 90 days max. Like our site speed optimization product, local website building, and Amazon affiliate website building. We want to get a little bit more into the market of sort of full service and sort of closing the gap, because one of the things that we've noticed over the course of the last year is that people who love our products would like to give us more stuff to do.
Sure. Cross-selling, you can give a better service. If people trust you, then you can get more work, and it's easier also because if you buy from 100 people different stuff, you have to with the email, with timings, and it's a mess.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. So I don't know if you've come across our agency partnership program, but that's something that's fairly new that we've rolled out, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, you told me about that. You told me that you basically manage everything white labeling, right?
Exactly. So basically, what we were looking at is to basically create a program where we are actually able to partner with anybody from individual SEOs to larger agencies, right? And the whole purpose behind it was to not become another package outsourcing provider, but to actually become a partner to those agencies. And so the way that we've created it, we literally do everything for these partners, and all they have to do really is the sales side and looking after their customers. So, we do everything from the keyword research to the proposal to running the campaigns to doing the baseline reports to doing monthly reports to doing the on-page, the off-page, building out websites for the clients. Like, we literally do everything, and it works great. We only launched it about 4 months ago, and we're now partnered with 25 agencies in 4 countries.
How do you deal with personalization? I mean, if a customer, sometimes customers want specific things, or I mean, you have to make a first off analysis in order to to tell if the price for SEO service? How do you deal with that? How do you standardize that?
So the most important thing is that you try to standardize your overall processes in order to minimize roadblocks or bottlenecks, right? So, for example, like let's say that you want to join the agency partnership program, and then we show you the reporting templates that we've created. Now, the good thing is that we already have all our reporting templates ready. Now, if you said, for example, hey, in my reports, I don't like to show traffic, right? For whatever reason, you're like, I don't like showing my customers traffic. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is we'll take the traffic element out of your reports and basically save them within your organization, so to speak. So every time that we generate a report, we use your custom template.
Sure.
That way, we can also guarantee that we always issue your report with your branding and everything on it. So the other thing is that sometimes you just have to say no, right? So if we have like a minimum requirement, or if there's something that we just can't do, for instance, we don't do paid advertising, right? But we've had a couple of people come to us and say, hey, can you run Facebook ads? Hey, can you run Google ads? And it's just something that we don't do because we're not experts at it. So we would rather focus on what we're really good at. And so I guess one of the easiest ways to avoid bottlenecks with that is just to be honest to your partners or your customers and just say, do it.
Sure. That's a very bold move, I guess, because when you see the money, it's difficult to say no. But
right, that's true. But at the same time, what I think you'll find long term is that if you focus on stuff that you're really good at versus trying to do like loads of different things just in order to generate more short-term revenue, is that long term you're going to lose.
Long term you're going to lose. That's for sure. That's very true. So you told me about the baseline report.
Sure. So baseline reports are something that we create in order to basically set a precedence for the campaign, right? So the two huge benefits. The first one is most customers that spend money on SEO don't know anything about SEO. So the first thing the first opportunity that you have in this baseline report that you can issue within the first week of a campaign is that you explain to them terminology. You explain to them what's going on. You show them the keywords you're going after. You show them where their traffic is at, etc. Right? So that's the first benefit. The second benefit is that 3 months down the line, that customer turns around and says, hey, Alex, what have you achieved so far? Well, you can grab that first baseline report, compare it to the most recent report, and show them the progress they've made. You can say, hey, look, in the baseline report, you had 100 visits a month. Now you're getting 350 or 500 or 1,000 or whatever. So that's a huge benefit because it's very easy to run into the trap of having to try and explain yourself because you didn't keep a good enough record. Sure. So huge benefit. And then lastly, something that we figured out while we were testing different providers in the industry is that the majority of them don't get in contact with their client until the end of month 1. So just put yourself for a second in the shoes of a business owner, like small to medium business owner that has just sent somebody $800 for a month of SEO, and now you don't hear from them. And then at the end of the month, they send you a report with a bunch of stuff that you don't understand. So that's not exactly trust building. So by sending them this baseline report within the first week of them having paid, it builds a of trust because they can see that you're actually working on their campaign. You're actually doing something for them.
This is totally. Do you do it for free together with the proposal, or do you charge for the baseline report?
The baseline report is part of every campaign. So every campaign includes the proposal. So the proposal is something we do for free, as well as basic keyword research.
If it was a customer for you, I mean, if you weren't white labeling the service and you would get approached by a client, would you send the baseline report for free or would you charge for it?
I would send it for free only because it's something that I want them to have. You could quite easily find a way to make it an upcharge, but honestly, I think that too much in your interest to send them this baseline report that you don't want them to say no to it, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's the same thing we do with our agency. I mean, we do a free diagnosis, 500 we say 500 euros worth of diagnosis for free. I mean, you will find someone that is only there to get the diagnosis, but I mean, you will also get the trust of many clients.
Exactly, it's absolutely worth it. I totally agree.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about like on page, off page, what's working now, what was working 3 years ago, what do you see working in the future? Let's maybe start with on page.
I think that what you're going to see, and you know, I will preface this with the fact that till today I am not the most technical of SEOs, but I think that what you're going to see happening over the course of sort of this year and maybe the next year is that the age-old concept of quality over quantity. So I think that what's happening is that the search algorithms are getting a lot smarter and better at identifying well-built pages that have a good amount of quality content on them, a good amount of optimization, right? So I think that what you're going to find is that sort of brute forcing it with over-optimization and 10,000 words of spun content might still work in some verticals, but I think it's going to work less and less. Now, I know that stuff like SERP shakers and stuff like that are still working. So, don't hang me out to dry just because I'm saying that we need to go after quality. But I think that what you'll find is that quality is going to have a much longer lifetime value versus sort of the more spammier approaches.
Yeah. So blogging, as always, internal structure.
Internal structure, I think, is absolutely. So I think that this is something that a lot of people in the industry are talking about right now. Like learning how to silo your content is becoming more and more important. And here's the other thing about siloing your content the right way. What a lot of people forget is that they might want to scale their website one day, right? So let's just say that there's a plumbing business, right? Now, a lot of people make this mistake where they make their main focus page based on a location, right? And the reason why that's great to begin with is because it's much easier to rank because it's so nice and close to the root URL. Exactly, right? So, but the problem is now that business turns around and wants to go location, and you're going to find yourself in a pretty tough position to scale that same website out, right? Whereas if you made your domain branded versus an EMD, and then you sort of scaled it out, then you would be able to scale it much easier. Now, again, I have seen it myself that EMDs work great even today, and I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying that if you want to scale 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line, it might be good to have some foresight.
Yeah, sure. That's very true. As always, as for your business, it's about thinking long-term versus short-term, right?
Exactly. Like if you're trying to make a churn website, right, that's for Air Jordans 11s or something, right? Then get a domain that's Air Jordans 11s, right? Whatever, the exact model number. But if you're trying to go broad, then make it Trainer King or ShoeKing.com or whatever and go broad, right? So I think it's just about sort of knowing what you want to do long term and then sort of, strategizing and planning that ahead. And I think that, it doesn't matter if we're talking about local, or if we're talking about affiliate, or if we're talking about big national sites. I think that what a lot of people forget to do because they get too excited is they forget to sit down and make like a proper plan, right? Like make a little map of how you're planning out your site, and that extra 30 to 60 minutes that you invest into that website are going to pay off 1,000-fold.
Yeah, that's very true. I always start with a very well thought keyword research. I use YouTube, I use Wikipedia, I go online, I try to look at how people, what's the problem, because maybe I have a website about some kind of pharmaceutical, but you don't only have to talk about that, you also have to start from the problem that might lead to the buying of that product, right?
Exactly.
So that,
yeah, and that's it. It's always the same thing. Like I think that it doesn't matter if it's during your research for a prosperous niche or if it's trying to convince a prospect to go with you as a business. I think that the number one thing that marketers forget to do is to listen. Right? They forget to listen to the customer. They forget to listen to the market. The only thing that they think is like, let's make some money. And I think that that's a tremendous issue that we have in this industry, because when it comes to like gaining clients and when it comes to doing outreach and stuff like that, the majority of prospects are actually quite happy to let you know what their problems are. They're quite happy to let you know what they're interested in pushing more, right? And so the problem is, if I don't ask them the right questions and I don't listen to their answers, and instead I just go, show them a screen share of a SEMrush screen, and I'm like, hey, this is what you should rank for. Like, I don't know if that's what they should rank for. I think that that's what they should rank for. But actually, if I listen to them, I might find out that all the stuff that I was thinking they should rank for doesn't make them any money because of whatever reason.
An off page for example, your white labeling service and your other sites that you run. Do you do only PBNs? Do you go for outreach and white hat, a mix?
We sort of go for a mix. So we use PBN links for a lot of the stuff that we do, but I will also say that we use them very, very carefully, in the sense that we have a PBN network. Well, we have a PBN that is exclusive to our clients. So we don't sell any links, and we don't use any of those links for affiliate sites or anything. We solely use it for our local clients. And we only do that on sites where we have full control of the SEO. So that's made us, put us into a position where, our network is now over a year and a half old, and we have never had so much as one site penalized or one PBN de-indexed or anything like that. So, yes, we do, but we're very careful about it.
What kind of hosting solution you use for the PBN?
We use a mix. So we've used all kinds of sort of higher end hosts that we use with custom or not custom, with dedicated IPs, as well as using solutions such as easy blog networks and stuff like that. Although I will say that it's worth doing your research on them, because they can have footprints, and so it's very important to very carefully which we want to end up with. And, there are quite a few out there. There's EBN, there's, I think, IP networks, then there's a few more. I think there's Bulk. That's the one, yeah. And so there's quite a few, and I mean, they all do a very good job. I actually had a sit down with the guys from Bulk Buy Hosting when I was in Thailand, and they really invest a tremendous amount of time and effort into maintaining their hosting's integrity. So, it really is a question of what do you want to do with it? At what scale are you doing it? Do you want to build a network of 10 sites or, 20 sites or 50 or 100 sites? And all of those things sort of come into play. I know a bunch of people who have built networks of 150, 250 sites and have hosted it off of shared hosting providers for really cheap, and also have ranked massive websites in competitive niches. But at the same time, it's just a question of
time,
what you do, and time, and risk and everything.
And then the hosting disappears. Like me, I bought hosting on OneCloudy, and then they disappeared, and now I will have to migrate all of the name servers and rebuild all of the PBN. So next time I'm going to be more careful. I will spend 50 cents more per month, but
that's it, right? So it's a small trade-off in hindsight.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you also about social signals. It's your most famous service, and
right.
There are some people saying that social signals help to avoid the sandbox. Some other people that say that social signals have a direct impact in ranking. Some other that say that they help for trust reasons and to avoid manual actions and so on. What's your take on social signals?
So, in all honesty, I think that social signals have become a very natural part of SEO campaigns. The reason for that is that we now live in a social world, right? Everybody is on social media 24/7, and most websites that gain interest are shared on social media. So I think that when you run a campaign and you use social signals for that campaign, what it does is it validates to Google that this website is somewhat legitimate, because it's natural for it to receive social signals, right? Like if it's starting to get links, if it's starting to get traffic, should be getting social signals. Now, if the links are not natural links, the links are PBN links, and the traffic comes from you pushing it through other ways, then it's not going to get any social signals, and in a way that is that can be a red flag to the algorithm.
Yeah, so you have to push traffic in one way or the other. Social signals are a very good way to.
I think that it's like with everything, you have to do whatever you have to do to rank. It's like one of those how long is a piece of string questions. Basically what I always recommend to people is try to run a very balanced SEO campaign, right? So that means Matt Diggity actually has explained this beautifully. You build up the anticipation of your website being launched by releasing a press release, for instance, right? And that press release will result in some traffic coming to your website and a bunch of press and news links, as well as Google News mentions. So the next natural progression from that is that your website is going to gather social signals, right? So now we have social signals, we have traffic, and we have a bunch of news sites talking about it. The natural next step is for your site to gain some links. So now you start pointing your PBN links at it, right? At the same time, you have to make sure that your website already has a natural footprint. So that means having set up a page, having set up a Twitter account, and stuff like that. And all of these things are just, they're really just what a normal person would in theory do when they launch a website.
I'm super curious about the first part, the press release. Everyone's saying also, I've seen many very high regarded people in SEO saying, the first thing I do is I always start with the press release from PBN Butler. So how did you manage to get this product packaged, and how does it work? The press release?
It's pretty painful, I can tell you that much. So a press release is basically just a company's way of letting journalists in the news know that you're doing something new, right? And so the trickiest thing about running a press release product is the fact that there are two types of press releases out there right now. So you have the real original press release that is actually being used by news outlets and is actually being used by news outlets like, the White House press office, for instance. Let's just use that. So what they'll do when they syndicate out their news, they will use stuff like the Associated Press. They will use different news wires that automatically get pushed out in front of thousands and thousands of journalists. And the idea is that those journalists go through news sources and they then create an article out of it that they then publish in their media. So no matter if it's in TV or in the press or magazines or whatever it is. And the problem with that is that this needs to actually have a story and something interesting in order to get published. Sure. Because you could send out the news of your new plumbing website to 1 million journalists and not one of them would care about it, right? So when we were doing research for this product, that was one of our biggest issues to face, that we needed to find syndication networks that directly publish on these newsworthy sites. And so we've had to basically partner up with a ton of different ones of these networks in order to be able to guarantee the news going out. Now, a second part to that is learning how to write these. And that was another huge learning curve for us because, writing a press release about something that's exciting is very easy. But writing a press release about an affiliate website that's promoting a scooter in town or the newest whatever, is really quite difficult. So we spent a lot of time researching press releases and news stories, etc. And our writing team actually came up with sort of a formula of how to write releases so that they get approved, so that they get syndicated, so that they get published, so that Google News picks them up. And in the end, we sort of tested it with a bunch of our sort of closest partners and customers, and they were all happy, and then we rolled it out.
It's not easy. It's not easy. And you always manage to get a big impact and to get links. How many links usually with the? How much is that your service? $55, right? For the people.
Yeah, so it's $55. Within that, you get a 400-word press release, which we handwrite, and then we basically send it over to the customer for approval. Once the customer has approved it, we send it out for syndication. And once it's been syndicated, we deliver a full report of every single URL that is live, including sort of, the Google News mentions and stuff like that. And I think on average, you get about 400 live links. It sort of varies a tiny bit from the niche that you're in and, what the news is and stuff like that. But on average, it's about 400, 450.
Links do follow. Are they do follow?
Links that go live, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a mix. So some of them are do follow, some of them are no follow.
But that's a huge quantity. I thought it was like 10, 15 links at most. I mean, for
No. So the thing about about press releases too, that a lot of people still don't understand is that press releases drop off after a certain amount of time, right? So just like with the news, when news becomes uninteresting, eventually these sites remove them, right? They either no index the pages, because the problem is, just imagine you're a syndication network and you have like 1,000 submissions a day, your site would very quickly become pure spam and be disregarded, and Google wouldn't pick it up for news anymore, etc. So what they do is, after sort of 60, 90 days, you'll notice those links start dropping off. And that's a good thing. That's okay. Like, it's completely okay. That's why we don't suggest press releases for anchor text diversification. Something like citations, for instance, are much better for anchor text diversification than press releases, because what's going to happen is you use your press release for anchor text diversification, it works great, and then after 60 days, 90 days, those links start dropping off, and then you all of a sudden realize your anchor text ratio is completely over-optimized.
Yeah. Actually, I've seen website ranking well with 30% anchor optimized, but that was because of EMD, actually, because of EMD. And so when they got links, but that was like, I guess it was natural. It was some science built in like 10 years ago and so on, and they just got the name, or they got part of the name, like partial match domain, and then when they get links, they put anchors with the name of it, and so they got a huge advantage.
Yeah. I mean, hey, PMDs and EMDs still work very, very well. I know a bunch of people that use them, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it just depends on how scalable it is, and like I think that you can get very smart with it too, like that's really the most important thing, that you make a good plan, you see where you want to take the site 3, 6, 12 months down the line, and you take it from there.
How many pages should a website have in order to rank well? Minimum, like 20 pages? 5 pages is enough? More?
That's really one of those how long is a piece of string questions, I mean, in all honesty, I think that I have seen very, very small websites rank, but I think that we're getting into the realm now where sites are a little bit bigger just because of the silo structure. But I think that both works. I think that you can make a small website rank and you can make a large website rank. Like we have an SEO client that has like a 5-page website, and he ranks for all of his terms.
Okay. Are they, and they are pretty much competitive, right?
They're like moderately competitive. I would say like a medium competition-ish. So.
Yeah, with 5 pages, it's incredible.
It's just, I think that a lot of it comes down into like homing in on your content and making sure that your content is bang on and your on page is bang on. Like it's like the thing with it's similar in SEO as it is with sales and marketing in general, right? So like most brands that we talk to as like consultants are always saying like, what should we try to generate more traffic? What should we try to generate more sales? And the question that we always ask them is like, what's worked for us, right? And they'll be like, we're really good with Facebook marketing, right? And we're like, well, why don't you do more of that and invest your money in that versus trying out 15 different things and spreading yourself thin? And the same thing works for SEO, and the same thing works for content marketing, and etc. But the point is, a lot of people get stuck on pages 2 and 3 and 4 and whatever. And I know that this is massively the mantra again of the industry leaders like Matt, like Charles, etc. That it's really important to, at that point, review your on-page, because you might be able to jump up another 10 spots just by doing some on-page. Having to invest into another 10 links and waiting another 45 days.
Sure. Because usually you say that links take at least 45 days in order to get indexed in Google and ranked?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, like links right now can take from anywhere from like 2 days to a month to show any kind of result, and that's to be unique depending on the vertical that you're in and like 1,000 different conditions. But what I'm saying is that on page has an effect that's almost immediate. So it's much better to tweak your on page a bit and make sure that like stuff like your anchor text ratios are fine, and invest in more links, because the majority of the time what you're going to find is that you can actually improve your site's rankings by checking the on page, checking the anchor text ratio and stuff like that, versus investing in more links and having to wait.
What are the usual overlooked on-page things that are missing, that you see that are missing in your clients?
I mean, I think that like 9% of have the wrong keyword densities, hands down. Like, that's a massive thing. I think another massive thing that people are missing is their schema, right? Their schema markup. And a third thing is...
because it's missing the schema markup, or because it's wrong?
Well, either because it's missing or because it's wrong, right? Like, it's still something that loads of people struggle to get right. And I mean, another big thing is, like really simple things like getting your site an SSL certificate, or making sure that your page speed is optimized. Like, these are huge things these days, like you should, and it's a one-time investment pretty much. So, even if you don't know how to optimize your website yourself, there are plenty of services out there that will do it for like $100 or $200 and get you down to that 1 second load time.
Yeah, that's very true. And it can make a big difference also for the user, I mean.
Well, exactly. That's it.
John, I think this interview was packed with information, and our people will be able to extract lots of it. And for sure, I will be a great buyer of your social signals, and for sure also your press release service, because with a good start, you can go very far, right?
That's true.
So, thanks for the thing. If you have anything else that you want to share, where people can find you, or...
Yeah, sure. I mean, people are always welcome to, make a purchase at pbnbutler.com, and otherwise feel free to contact us via the site anytime. We're always happy to answer questions, no matter if you have purchased something or not. And thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, John. See you soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.